Live from London, Car-Boyz. We are live indeed. We are very much live.
We are.
Contrary to popular belief. Yes, back on the airwaves. Despite the chaos across the world, despite the global pandemic that's sweeping the nation, maybe sweeping your nation, sweeping ours at the moment. We've got riots in America. The show that was on your radio, but is now on your, well, TV screens. What do we say these days?
Yeah, your monitors. Your monitors.
Your monitors. It's basically on your laptop or your iPad.
Yes.
We're coming back to you in glorious Technicolor. This week, we got all the news that's not fit to print. In the news, we answer your questions in the mailbag. That's coming back. It's bulging this week as well, the mailbag. It is bulging. We've got a great competition for you in honor of the farce the Americans call wrong way up. They'll shoot me if I do that. Yes, the farce that the Americans call an election. We have a quiz called American Steel. Yes, indeed. Very patriotic. It is indeed. It's all about car production from the good old US of A. I'll be putting my Lurex suit on, whitening my teeth, and marrying someone a third of my age, which I think is about 12, as I become Bob Bobson and host our quiz, American Steel, in the words of the US national anthem, "Oh, say, can't you see?" A great song which was all about the British beating the Americans in the Second Revolutionary War. And the music, of course, taken from an old London drinking song. Did you know that, Simon?
I didn't know that. So let me get this straight. If the anthem was a London drinking song, then that must mean our British national anthem should be "Come On Eileen" by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Or "Come and Have a Go If You Think You're Hard Enough,"
Yes.
possibly. Yes. Also, the reason the White House is white is because the British set fire to it.
Right. Okay.
But please subscribe if you are listening in America.
Yes, that's probably half our American audience are probably disappearing and going down faster than Stormy Daniels. Well, according to Donald Trump. Anyway, this is the car radio show that's now got added pictures, and we're back. This week we've been taken across the globe in search for the best cars, the best driving routes, and the classic vehicles that you want to own. We've got two great unknown roads to discover in the Lost Highways. This week we're taking you to Los Angeles and to Belgium. And I unearth a diamond in the rough with a classic car selection. This week we get to use the word wankle. Yes, the word wankle, because we are talking about the the Mazda RX-8.
Hey!
There you go. Hopefully that
the
will...
RX-8. Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah, keep trying. Yeah, no, let the iris adjust, as the bishop said to the actress.
Hey!
Fantastic.
So there you go. So that's the classic car this week. And we'll be asking the age-old question, if the amber light on the traffic light means actually go faster, well, the answer is just go fast always. That's the answer.
Oh, yes, exactly. That's what I say to the children. Red means stop, green means go, amber means go faster.
Yes, all of that and more, so stay tuned for this. And I'm Simon Sujuan, and when I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine?
Simon Sujuan there, of course, who's singing about the present day state of his current Barnet. And there's Simon, strangely. It looks, if you just if you, yeah.
No, I've got a better picture. There we go.
Oh, a better picture. Hang on, stand by. Yes, it needs to. So it's Paul McCartney and my grandmother. Who's the other lady?
Angela Lansbury.
Oh my God, he does look like Angela Lansbury. Oh my goodness. All right there, yeah, it's great.
Solving some mysteries.
So now go back to the original picture. If you just place the original picture in front of the camera, just let the iris auto adjust. That's it. Hang on a second. Here we go. Now he looks like if Angela Lansbury had sex with a hedgehog, that would be, it'd be great. Twiggy sort of liked to come around my house. Look at the state of it. There is a time when you need to retire, isn't there? I think that's what Donald Trump keeps saying.
He should do that.
Keep saying to Joe Biden. And of course, he can't sing anymore, can he, McCartney? His voice is completely shot.
Well, that's why he's claiming that he can play all the instruments on his new album. But hey ho.
I'm Richard Green, and I think they definitely shot the wrong Beatle.
I do too.
If I'd been out till 2:45, Would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Of course, the Beatles with When I'm 64, which is now in remembrance of a lost youth for Angela Lansbury, or as we like to call him, Paul
Paul
McCartney.
McCartney.
And of course, it's episode 64. That's why we use
This
it.
is why, yeah.
This is why. Of course, this is
It is
Car-Boyz. And we have, in light of the pandemic, we've got a new sponsor.
Okay, new sponsor. Who is it? Who is it this week?
This week, the new sponsor is COVID Cola. COVID Cola. COVID Cola. Refreshing, infectious, oriental. COVID Cola. I have been told, though, by the Surgeon General and Department of Public Health for the United Nations, just to say COVID Cola may kill people with respiratory problems and the over 60s. That's just a bit of a, if you are going to indulge
disclaimer.
in COVID Cola. If you've got this respiratory problems, probably best not to. There we go. Yes, welcome to the show. Have you had a good week, Simon?
It's been interesting because for those of you who don't know, that Britain is preparing for England's preparing for another lockdown. I think Wales is already locked down. So people have just lost their minds, lost ability to drive, lost ability to shop, and it's just been fighting the twats on the street. Really, that's what we're gonna do.
You did mention Wales there, which did make me laugh because apparently England is going to be locked down for 4 weeks,
Yes.
but Wales opens next week. So if but you can't visit. I know you want to visit Wales if you're running out of sheep, links, coal, but you can't. You can't get slate mines.
Yeah.
You can't go and visit Wales, and I can say all that stuff because I am a quarter Welsh, unfortunately. So no, you're not going to get able to go into Wales, which is very, very upsetting. But it's time now on the show. Let's get on with it. Of course, you'll notice I've had a skin fade today.
So have I.
Simon's had a skin fade this year.
It just mostly skin.
Or does it naturally grow like that? Wouldn't it be handy if it was? I mean, hair's a great thing when you've got it growing in the right places, but as you get older, it tends to turn up in the places you don't want it. We wouldn't know anything about that because we're both 21. No, exactly. Time now for Richard's take on the show. Now, it's my take. It's when I took a look at the world from my own view, which, to be honest, is slightly warped, but will always be entertaining. As I say each week on the show, this is an authoritarian, if not totalitarian regime, where I was appointed by the divine right of kings, and my word is the word of God. Be that Allah, Buddha, Jesus, or the weird one who says you can't eat pork, you must have a beard, and you will drive a 1990s Volvo and support Spurs. Yep. Anyway, that aside, I am in charge of this section of the show, so strap on, folks. It's going to be a rough one. Back in 1962, Peter, Paul and Mary sang the song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? Well, we don't know where they went. Maybe it was the onset of winter. I'm not sure. But what we do know is there's no flowers. The question I'm asking this week is, where have all the car manufacturers gone? This comes in light of last week's news that the PSA Group and Fiat Chrysler Automobiles have officially signed the deal for a full merger, creating the fourth largest manufacturer with around 8.7 million sales, combined revenues, wait for it, of 144 billion pounds. The merger of the two companies will include a number of high-profile car brands. The PSA Group owns Citroën, DS, Peugeot, Vauxhall, Opel, while FCA's brands include Alfa, Chrysler, Fiat, Dodge, Jeep, Lancia, Maserati, and Ram, which is another part of Dodge. The process will take place over the next 12 to 15 months, and the firm's saying that the combined PSA FCA Group will now allow for 3.1 billion in run rate synergies. Run rate synergies. Word. Always be scared of that. That sounds like a word invented by accountants, because it is. Although the efficiencies enabled by shared investments, vehicle platforms and engine families and new technologies. While no firm details have been announced, the PSA FCA have said that more than 2/3 of its production will be focused on two platforms, with a small platform and a compact mid-sized platform, both accounting for around 3 million cars annually. Although unconfirmed, these are likely to be the PSA Group's CMP and LMA2 platform, which are both capable of running combustion, hybrid, and full electric powertrains. Put simply, there's a reason for the merger, and it's a cost-cutting one. Basically, use the same platforms and powertrains to convince customers there are still many, many, many varieties of cars, when really there are just two. To coin a phrase, folks, you can have any flavour of ice cream as long as it's vanilla. And vanilla is a good description of the cars that will emerge from this merger of these two motoring giants. Yes, you'll have a Lancia and a Fiat and a Vauxhall and a Citroen and a Peugeot and a DS, whatever that may be. But they'll all have the same platform, the same engine, the same switchgear, the same gearboxes, the same lights. What's the phrase? A badge by any other name is still the same boring version of a PSA FCA clone car. Maybe you watched the show a couple of weeks ago. I was banging on about the demise of the British car industry, and it began to homogenize into one behemoth of a brand that was BMC, then British Leyland, then Rover, and MG, until it got bought out and shipped to China, lock, stock, and barrel of sump oil, and turned into the flying Wing Wang Eagle Company of Shenzhen. Well, in the late 1960s, this company, which was originally British Leyland, produced an Austin 300, a Princess, an MG, a Riley Kestrel, a Wolsey, a Maxi, a Morris, and a number of other models in 4 different factories in the UK, effectively making exactly the same car, just with different badges. Where over in Japan, Honda were making just one small good car, the Civic, a car which is still being made 50 years later. That was bad management, but what's going on today is just as bad. You're just going to be conning the public into buying the same car, this time with 15 different badges, except now the accountants are in charge. There'll be far less factories, far less jobs, and you will be convinced that a Vauxhall will be different from a Citroen, from a Jeep. Really, it'll all be the same car, the same body, with just slightly different body styles and slightly different badges, but effectively the same car. This may be a radical thought, but one of the reasons I buy a certain brand of car is I know what I'm getting. I buy a Honda, it'll be reliable as hell. I buy a Porsche, it'll be exciting and expensive. I buy an Audi Avant, a bit of both. I like individual brands. I like the world made up of interesting things and different things. I do not like fast food production style of the current car manufacturing, because after a while, it just tastes of nothing. Far be it from me to ask for the re-establishment of the good old days when car manufacturing was in small sheds and production numbers never got into triple digits. But for heaven's sake, I like cars. I like driving. I love great brands and classic motors. Please let us preserve a little bit of individuality. What do you think, Simon?
Well, there's 2 things that worry me about this. We already have this already, so we've got, what is it? Hopefully the camera will adjust. We have the Skoda Superb, the Volkswagen Passat, the Audi A4, which is also
same
the
car.
Seat XCO, I think it's called.
Yes, same car.
They're the same car, just different badges. My second worry is, so we know that Peugeot makes some decent small cars.
Yeah.
The Americans pretty much make some big cars. Hopefully they don't get that the wrong way round.
Ooh.
So
Americans
we get
make...
do the Americans make small cars? They don't really, but they get that wrong. And and Peugeot, do they make decent big cars? Well, I suppose Citroen do, but it's like the time when Alfa and Nissan joined together. You thought, great, we're going to have Italian styling and Japanese engineering, but instead we got Japanese styling and Italian engineering. So they've got to get this right.
I'm reminded of that great quote about what heaven and hell is. Heaven is the Italians make the food, the French make the love, the Germans make the cars, and the Swiss run the hotels. Hell, Italians run the hotels, the French make the cars, the Swiss make the food, and the Germans make the love. You've got to be very careful what you wish for.
Yes.
Or the other quote. What was it was the guy that wrote Pygmalion, the Irish playwright, who was he was quite ugly, big beard, had a big old beard. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember him. But he wrote the play Pygmalion. He had this big beard, and he was an amazing literary playwright. And this actress came up to him, beautiful actress, and said, "Oh, we should have a baby because with your brains and my looks, it would be fantastic." And he said, "Yes, but my dear, but what happens if it had your brains and my looks?" That's what you have to be very careful of.
Be careful
So
what you're wishing for.
be careful what you wish for. I do not think, I think this, I don't think it'll end in disaster, but I think we're going to end up with a lot of very boring cars.
Yes. And pretty much the same boring car across the whole group.
Exactly. Shall we have some news?
Let's have some news.
Here we go.
First off, here's chocolate radiator news. Britain's first forecourt only for electric vehicles is about to be opened in November, which is this month. The station in Braintree, Essex, is the first one of a £1 billion nationwide network of 100 electric forecourts planned over the next 5 years. The that's an interesting picture. The 2.5-acre site is being built with 24 charging points, which can replenish the batteries of the latest plug-in models in around 20 to 30 minutes. There's also 6 superchargers for Tesla vehicles. There's a WH Smith, Costa Coffee and post office shops that are also being built on the site in case you want to have a cup of tea, read a newspaper or have some coffee.
Which is need a lot of coffee to wait for your electric car to charge.
Which is powered by solar energy and battery storage, hopefully not the ones that are recharging the cars. Support will be provided by the electric vehicle experts from the AA. GridServe, the company behind the project, says it wants to make electric vehicle charging as simple as stopping at petrol stations. Good luck. The project has been backed by the government, which plans to ban the sales of new petrol or diesel hybrid cars as well by 2035, but this could be brought forward to 2030 because they're mad. Industry leaders have warned the target is overly ambitious. The Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders say that £17 billion of investment is needed to get a charging network ready for the mass electric vehicle market, which is allegedly going to happen with more than 500 new charge points needing every day until the 2035. It's calling for tax relief on zero-emission vehicles and a long-term commitment to plug-in grants, which would reduce the cost of electric cars. I think they've done like wireless charging instead, so you drive over it and it just wirelessly charges.
And you have cancer by the time you leave.
Yes.
I've only been driving this car for 3 years. I've got tumors everywhere.
Blimey.
You're not supposed to live under power stations, are you?
Exactly.
And under power lines and so on and so forth. Yeah, what an absolute nightmare. I don't want to. I don't really want to drive all the way to Essex to go and fill up on electricity. I've got electricity at my house. 24 charging stations isn't very much.
No.
Plus, it doesn't say how many children in the third world are going to have to dig up the rare earths with their bare hands for the batteries to supply the cars. Meanwhile, how many children in the third world are going to have to be child soldiers to guard the other children who are digging up the earth with their bare hands to supply the batteries for these electric cars? We said before, we said again, I'm not sure. I think it's the answer for city centres and golf courses and milk floats. I'm not sure it's exactly the answer for going up and down the motorway and the most efficient use of fuel, because that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? Let's make fuel efficient.
But no, doesn't work. No joined up thinking here at all whatsoever.
No. Talking of which, meanwhile, and in Do You Like My Aston Martin, it's a Mercedes news. Mercedes-Benz will take a 20% stake in Aston Martin under a groundbreaking deal for the two car makers to share technology. Aston will give the German group shares in exchange for cutting-edge kit, including electric cars. Mercedes will also be able to put a representative on Aston's board. It's also a German in the corner. You will do this. Will it be like Dr. Strangelove, do you think? They have blonde, like white hair in a wheelchair. My hair. He already owns a 42% in the James Bond mark, but will be able to ramp up as much as 20% over the next 3 years. Aston Martin said this would allow it to concentrate on production rather than developing its own technology. Yeah, far be it from you to develop your own technology. The luxury car maker has flailed since it listed 2 years ago in October 2018. I will show you a wonderful picture of what's happening to Aston Martin's share price since 2018. It started off quite nice.
It's down.
It's down. It's down among the dead men, I'm afraid. The business suffered a series of revenue warnings, losses, and emergency fundraising before the group, led by fashion and Formula One billionaire Lawrence Stroll, bailed it out at £536 million rescue. Now, as well as announcing a collaboration with Mercedes, Aston yesterday unveiled plans for £125 million fundraising. It will sell £250 million shares.
So I have this image of them selling cakes or something. On a little stall.
Now, don't forget, before you go, we've got the tombola. You can win a book. And we've raised, and we're down at the church fete. This is what we do to raise money for the kids. The kids all want to go. This year, they're hoping to get a new guy in to do some football practice. So we're going to... This is not... So they're going to sell £250 million shares to new... yes, wait with us. To new and existing investors for 50p a pop. Well, you get a free burger with that. This current 54.5 pence. I mean, 50p a share is pretty crap. New investors, including New York hedge fund Perryman Investment Partners and Zelon Holdings, a European family office, will buy into the fundraising price. But this doesn't bode well. Plus, printing more shares isn't that a bit like printing more money?
Yes,
and that
so you get hyperinflation.
It didn't turn out well for the Weimar Republic, did it? Talking of Germans, a little German popped up there, didn't he? So is this going to, especially if there's a German on the board, do you think you should sell more shares? This is basically going to be a Mercedes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's already starting it, because they've already got, I think the Astons have got AMG engines in them.
Right.
So they've already started that process in there.
Okay.
But again, we've said this time and time before. It's a similar problem to what McLaren have got. They're literally just there's no differentiation between their product lines. They're just producing lots of the same car. And goes back to your rant earlier on. It's the same car.
Look, I mean, that share price. Although, there's a bit of, we could do a financial advice. British Airways shares are very low at the moment. If you fancy getting involved in that, I'm just saying, very low at the moment. Are they going to go back up?
Who knows?
I prefer to buy that than Aston Martin. So there you go, Aston Martin. You've got another story.
Buy some cakes as well at the same time.
Yeah, buy some cakes. Make sure you enter the tombola, and it'll all be fine. That's how we fund an international car company.
Exactly. You'll get a new DB11. That's what we're raffling off. And I love this story. How do you get the kids to school on time in the middle of war? News. I love this. This car is this vehicle is absolutely brilliant.
Look at that.
The answer is it's the Taurus Praetor. I keep wanting to say Praetorian.
Praetorian. No. It's Latin. Praetorian.
Pistorius. It shoots at you.
It shoots at you if you pretend to be a girlfriend.
Exactly.
In a bathroom. Praetorian was part of the Roman Praetorian Guard, which was like the elite guard during the Roman Empire, and I think the Praetorian Guard would protect the emperor.
But it's called the Praetorian Bus, and it guarantees to get your children to the classroom, even if it's in the middle of the rainforest, a war zone, or any other inhospitable environment. Kitted out with long travel suspension, huge steel wheels, chunky off-road tyres, and a chassis that can withstand blows from the harshest of terrains. It can take up to 35 children. This would be so cool, to the most remote schools on the planet. It started life as a man truck using a 6.9-litre diesel engine that produces 286 bhp, and that's enough grunt to haul it up to a 65% incline. The maker has jacked the ride height to monster truck levels. I have to tell you something about a monster truck. To clear obstacles, while the four-wheel drive and off-road Michelin tyres add to its capability in challenging conditions. It also has a wading depth of 900 millimeters and double glass windows that won't shatter.
So about a metre.
Yeah, if the bus collides with a rock or the kids start screaming inside. As Elon Musk throwing rocks at it. Other
Yeah.
special features include bespoke original seats styled around mathematics and science designs, and a digital sign to notify parents that this is the correct bus to get their children to school, the one that's going through the war zone. Uh, Not that it doesn't sound out enough already.
Ah!
The seats are covered in polymer protective coating, because that's what you need when you've got kids, and equipped with seatbelts suitable
They'll
for
be
all
shitting
ages.
themselves in the war zone, won't
Yes,
they?
they would love it. They'd all want to go to school on time. The optional extras for the seats include a foldable armrest, which will just break off, a hip support bar, mini bar. No, hip support bar. And
Nice.
the aisle side, just as in case the route gets particularly crashy. Torsus even offers a full quota of optional extras on request, including a TV and DVD player, which will keep the kids entertained. And it's also in the journey home if it's a long one. The entry bus starts around £150,000,
Whoa.
while the most expensive variant, kitted out in Expedition, which, if you didn't know, that means you can go on school field trips,
Oh,
that
yeah.
starts out at £332,000. I think kids would love to, especially little kids, would love
Oh,
to go to school in this.
my son would love this bus. If he could get his hands on this, he'd be like, "Yeah, can I go to school in that, Dad?
Yes.
I don't want to go in the back of your car. I want to go on this bus, and I will man the machine gun at the back." I'm not too sure though. Say you're in where is that war zone between Armenia and Azerbaijan at the moment? I
Not
wouldn't. Well,
Kazakhstan. My geography's not
no,
great.
something Nostrovia or something like that.
Oh,
Nagorno-Karabakh.
yeah, that's it.
I
Yeah.
don't think that if it was incoming, I'd go, but you need to do your geography. Off you go, the bus.
It's a bit like what's the film with Arnie where he becomes a teacher?
Oh,
Uh, Kindergarten Cop. That's what it'd be like.
kindergarten cop.
God.
Get to the bus. Get in the back of the bus. George Bernard Shaw, the author of Pygmalion, and I didn't remember it. I looked it up on Google.
Ah.
Just in case anybody was wondering, any people watching the show that are of a literary bent, I doubt it highly. From
What I want
bus,
Before you
go on.
carry on, what I wanted to say was you were talking about monster trucks.
Yes, monster trucks, of course. Sorry. Yes.
Driving through Earl's Court when I go to work, there's a
Oh,
Toyota Hilux that's
nice,
been converted into a monster truck.
nice.
And well, obviously I can't stop round there, but I want to stop there and take a photo of it because it's just this weird thing in the middle of Earl's Court.
That's insane. If you are listening, imagine the most built-up city near you.
Yes.
That's the equivalent of having a monster truck and the most inappropriate rural vehicle. Although great, as I talked to a guy today when I was out and about, last time I get to chat to people for
Yes.
a month, he was complaining about potholes in London. So, maybe a monster truck is the way forward.
Or one of these buses.
Driving. Is it permanently? Oh, I want one of those. I like. Actually, that's the kiddie, the gold one. And there's the gold one. Look at that. You could bling that up. Look at that. You could have all it. I reckon a rapper would buy that and have all his bitches on it.
Tour bus. It will be a tour bus.
Yeah, it's a rap tour bus if you were going to play in South Ossetia or the Caucasus. I got a tour date. Where are you playing? Between Azerbaijan and Armenia. It'll be fine. We've got a special tour bus. Talking. Is that, by the way, is the monster truck in West London permanently there? It's not part of some exhibition at Earl's Court.
No. It's part there. It's funny enough. Since we did the Bentley as a feature, as a classic car, that's disappeared and it's now been replaced by a monster truck.
This is interesting. This is very interesting. I think it might be the way forward for London. Talking of which, and finally, London gets ready to become a real-life version of Escape from New York news. London Mayor Sadiq Khan says the government has forced him to keep the congestion charge at £15, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as part of a £1.6 billion bailout for Transport for London, as revealed. The temporary hike raised over 100 million over the summer. This was the deal which the government was saying, no, we're not going to give you any money. You have to extend the congestion charge zone from this little tiny red bit. Hang on a second. I've now lost. Yes, we've got our picture there, which it should.
Come on, camera, adjust. Yeah.
There you go. The iris, the auto. You need to take it off auto iris. So yes. This is a picture of London. Yes, there we go. So the red bit is where the congestion charge zone is. The blue bit is really Greater London. I mean, the blue bit 50 years ago wasn't even in London.
Yeah.
And the orange bit is what I consider to be London. That's zone 4. You're on the edge of that orange bit, aren't you? Up in
Just
M4.
just above it. So where it
Just
says
above it.
I'm one of the, what is it,
Yeah, got it.
3.8 million, just outside.
You're just
South.
outside. I'm a little bit further out. I'm not quite all the way out where the edge of the blue, the M25 motorway is. The ring road that the orange is covering is the north and south circulars. Well,
Yep.
Mr. Khan said it was not a perfect deal, but insisted he fought hard to get the best possible place and rejected the very worst proposals. I doubt he did either. The controversial hike of the congestion charge up to £15 is said to be kept as part of the deal, with the mayor's office insisting he was forced to keep it in place. It's expected to remain in force 7 days a week to help pay for free travel for under 18s and Londoners aged over 60. Well, those under 18s can't be getting on the buses because the buses don't have anybody on there anymore. And the Londoners aged over 60 are still self-isolating. So that's a load of old crap. It comes as the Tory mayoral candidate, Sean Bailey. That's the bus. I would pay. That's the bus we should be all on.
Exactly.
That'll protect you from COVID. Tory mayoral candidate Sean Bailey has vowed to scrap the charge. Congestion charge income between May and September increased 44% from 68 million to 93 million pounds compared to the same period last year after the introduction of the hike in June. Well, nobody's on London transport, that's why. The number of fines issued to drivers for failing to pay the charge also rose. This is frightening, doubling to more than 320,000 by the end of August. So those people that drive into the congestion charging zone, not knowing there is a congestion charging zone or not caring, and that was the number of fines that were issued, unless you're driving a Polish or a French car or a Spanish car. Then they've got nowhere to send the bill. Just a thought. Following a government ruling, the congestion charge zone, which currently covers central London, they want to extend it from the red bit all the way out to the orange bit. As I said last week, I can see many people who live in the orange bit or the blue bit going, time for me to get a fake number plate. I wouldn't suggest that you do it or go to buy on a Spanish car online, but if you did it, nobody's going to give you a fine. This is never going to happen, by the way.
It's purely, and it would be purely just to make money.
Yes.
No other reason. No reducing congestion. No environmental benefits. No, it's just to make money.
It's a money grabbing. And of course, still got some more pictures from the London Underground, seeing how busy that is. Oh, it's so busy that is 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. That is not rush hour, but that's rush hour as it stands now. And I spoke to a cyclist today who said he has no intention of using the new cycle lanes because they're full of rubbish and they're full of potholes. So that's why this is empty.
Yes.
This over here, it's very empty. There we go.
You could get a bus through that lane.
You could get a bus through that lane. Is it time for some, what is it, classic car selection? Classic
car, yes.
Here we go.
Let's get some classic, get the band back in.
Are striking up.
Of course.
Oh, hang on. So I don't know what happened there. Should we try that again?
Yes.
Oh no, we've gone back to the music of last week. There we go.
Of course, the band happy their furlough's been extended for a month.
Yeah, man. I've had to put them on. They're not on 80% now. I've got them down to 60% of their heroin and red wine consumption.
And methadone.
Methadone. I just open the trap and I throw down Gaulois cigarettes, and they love it. Oh look, they're happy. More Gaulois cigarettes. There's some needles. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So this week we have.
I'm talking about jazz. I had they played jazz in the shop while I got my skin fade today.
Ooh, nice.
It was nice.
We're talking about again. The camera may focus on this. It may not. It's
focusing. You've just got to let the iris auto adjust. Are you wearing black as well? You can tell you don't work in TV.
But the funny thing was, I went from white to black. It's still the same thing. But hey.
Black Lives Matter. Wait for it. If you get it a little bit closer, there you go. Let it adjust. There you go. And there we go. I'll put up a picture as well.
But the problem then happens with that is when I go like this, I disappear.
Yeah.
It adjusted really well. So-
Trying to
this-
rack. If I was doing cameras, trying to rack you in that. Actually, mine. I'm not. Look, I'm what. This is a bit
Yes.
racist, isn't it? I've just realised. You're in black. I'm in white. I didn't plan this.
It's fine. We'll just have
Let's
to
just
have a
move
production
on.
meeting next on.
We will.
This
We need to
week's
sack somebody. Can we sack the jazz band? We can't. They're black.
This week's The Classic Car is a proper rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated manual gearbox, genuine four-seater sports car that's unique, as it's full of little quirks like the Wankel rotary engine and suicide door body style. It is the Mazda RX-8, which was launched in 2002. And went head-to-head with cars like the Honda S2000 and the Nissan 350Z. Surprisingly, this car was given the go-ahead by the heavily influenced Ford management of Mazda on the condition that it had 4 doors. And because of its overlapping design, oh, there it is. Good-looking car. Because of its overlapping design, the rear doors can only be opened when the front doors are open. Because it's basically to maintain structural rigidity. The underpinnings were closely related to the 3rd generation Mazda MX-5, so much so that the engineers were using MX-5 prototypes to develop the powertrain. Suspension is double wishbone up front and multi-link in the rear, and the Mazda managed to keep the weight down relatively low to 1,300 kilos. The car was styled by none other than the son of the RX-7's lead designer, so keeping it in the family. It also features the near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Power came from a naturally aspirated rather than turbocharged engine. No, 1.3.
Yep.
In size, but still capable of producing 237 bhp and a free-spinning 8,500 rpm. There was a lower output version of 189 bhp, which was also available. The former was attached to a 6-speed manual gearbox, while the latter got a 5-speed with different ratios. Its driving dynamics have received praise from all over the world from those that have driven it. 2008 brought a slightly more modern looking one, because they've did a few facelifts to it, which better reflected Mazda's corporate look at the time. Had a higher specification and revised suspension geometry, which made it also stiffer and had a shorter final drive. The RX-8 lasted in this country, in the UK, till 2010. Do you know why they stopped selling it in this country?
No. Emissions?
It was because of emissions, yes. So it was withdrawn from sale then. Today, it looks particularly good in blue. Today, the RX-8 is spectacularly affordable, and whilst the risks of buying used examples are greater than many of its contemporary rivals, the rewards are very high. If you can stomach the fuel bills, now this is the stumbling point, don't expect to get a great deal more than 20 mpg from this car. The RX-8 does offer a unique and entertaining drive experience. If you're into tuning, there's also lots of aftermarket parts from tuners. So what do you look for? Well, the body is made of a cocktail of aluminium, steel and plastic, and as a carbon fibre drive shaft. So you've got lots of different things to look for. I think the bumpers are plastic, some of the panels are aluminium, some of them are steel. So rust isn't an issue as such. The problems people talk about having the RX-8 are very few and far between and hit and miss. With proper care, they are just as reliable as any other rotary engine car and far more fuel efficient, especially in the 2nd generation car, which is on screen now. The basic models can be picked up cheap, so for anyone who wants an intro into the rotary world, buying one is going to be pretty good and not quite basic. The RX-8 is the logical choice to choose. Just be prepared for the typical issues with rotary engines. Cheap cars go for as little as £1,500.
Ooh.
Spend a bit more and you can get a great car. Top end, you're looking probably about 6,000. I looked online today and found a limited edition Kuro model, which is available in black, one of 500 made, with cream leather, 59,000 miles on the clock.
Wow.
And you could pick that up for a fiver short of £5,000, so 4,995.
And what's the mileage?
59,000 miles.
59, and the year?
I can't remember what the year was. 2010. It was one of the last ones as well in this country.
That's really good.
With a rotary engine, 1.3. So there you
I
go.
can't. The only problem with these,
Yes.
you did, and for America, it's not an issue because your petrol is half as
Cheap.
it's half as expensive as half as expensive.
Yes, half as
Yeah,
expensive.
half as expensive as it is here.
As soon as the government takes most of the money that we.
Yeah, it's like you with your naturally aspirated. Yeah, so it wouldn't be a problem in America because petrol is pretty cheap. But the problem with this is in the UK. I'm assuming I knew somebody that owned one of these and took it down to Brighton from London and nearly cried when he got back because he was working out how much it was costing him to run.
Yeah.
Plus, it does eat a lot of oil because it has a Wankel engine.
Yes.
I went to university with somebody whose dad worked on the original Wankel engines, I think back in the 1960s.
Wow.
And they had lots of problems with them because I think was it NSU had one of the first Wankel engines.
Yeah.
And they used to overheat quite a bit. I've heard the problems with the RX-8 are not as bad, but it will eat oil. But this is not what the classic car selection is about.
Yeah.
The classic car selection is about a diamond in the rough. It's about things that are being overlooked that will probably be future classics. That will be a future classic.
It will.
And at that money, £5,000, it's worth a punt. If you want a car to go and fanny around on the weekend, go and do fun things that can sit there as well, because it's a little 1.3 litre engine. You do not want to use this as a commuter every single day. As long as you drive it every weekend, it's got the suicide doors at the back. So if you want to do some mini cabbing, it's not good because you can't open the back door without opening the front door. I don't think it's a mini cabbing car, but if you spend less than £5,000,
and you can fit 4 adults in there as well. It's not a 2+2; it's a proper 4-seater as well. So space for your mates as well.
This was the car that was driven by Wolverine in the very first X-Men, I believe. And hasn't it got a tunnel for the gearbox as well? Because it's proper rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So not the gearbox, the drivetrain.
Transmission,
Yeah, the transmission through a proper tunnel. So you actually, it's not a 5-seater; it's a proper 4-seater. I think for a weekend car, reliable. It's relatively reliable. It's Mazda.
Japanese.
Yes, it's relatively right. It's going to cost you a bit of money to run, but. Nah.
But most classic cars are going to cost you money at something. You get what you pay for, and I don't know anybody that's got a classic car that doesn't have any issues and headaches.
Yeah, they'll always
the joy
cost
of it.
you more money. They're going to cost you more money than you're probably going to get back from them. You're going to say, I've put a lot of money into this, but you're going to have lots of fun in it. And to be honest, it's more different than Porsche Boxster. You don't look as much like a hairdresser when you drive one. They drive weird though as well. Have you ever been in one?
Do they? No.
It's weird. It's this. It's not the grunt you get from a Beamer, which are very European clean. It's not a muscle car grunt. I would say the Japanese cars have a weird sort of almost like a sewing machine sound when they accelerate. It's not. It's a pitch. They don't do that. You can't hear that. It's a proper sort of very fast, even faster. And that's, I think, that is the car that most exemplifies that sort of acceleration. But I tell you what, I think that's a good pick. We'll have more of those next week, I guess. Or another one. Oh, you can, of course, suggest it. If you want to suggest your classic car selection, you can write to the boys, email the boys at car-boys@outlook.com, Facebook, car-boys@carboys with all the Zs, Twitter us, car-boys @car_boys, boys always with a Z, and Instagram at car_boys with 3 Zs. I can't remember whether that's the porno one or whether that's Twitter.
It's TikTok.
TikTok is the one. I watched TikTok the other day. It was quite amusing. Yeah, it's like 30-second videos, isn't it? It's like it's Trump doing a dance, doing the robot
to YMCA.
God bless him. From sea to shining sea. Shall we go abroad now? I think we should go abroad.
Will the band back in.
I will the band back in. They've gone country and western on us. Here they go. Here they are. Go on, boys. The best, the greatest country in the world.
Oh
There we
dear,
go.
Americans, you do have my sympathy.
Yes,
Oh,
they do have. Yeah, I don't know what wealth mean to you. It's Donald Trump trying to
yes.
speak to us through the medium of the internet.
This is, of course, Lost Highways,
Oh,
but don't
hang on.
forget.
Before last
Yes,
answer, could I do another quick plug for
yes,
our sponsor
COVID
this
Cola.
week, COVID Cola. COVID Cola, I will read, refreshing, infectious, and oriental. COVID Cola. Public health warning, COVID Cola may kill people with respiratory problems and the over 60s. COVID Cola.
And of course, they are doing promotions with this. You buy one, get a free swab test with it
Oh,
as
that's
well.
nice. Straight up your
Yes.
nose.
Yeah. Later on the show, we have the mailbag and the quiz. But first, this is, as we said, Lost Highways. It's our feature where listeners email us in and give us their favourite roads and the reasons why they love them. It could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight two-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison is, let us know your perfect driving road here on Car-Boyz. All the details are up there on the screen and disappearing now. Serge. No, that's fine. Serge gets in touch with us and he says, hope you guys are good here in sunny Los Angeles. I like to drive around in my Mustang with the roof down and living the dream. We have some great roads here, but the Pacific Coast Highway gets all the attention. The road leading up to it in the Malibu Canyon is just as interesting, though. A small blue sign on Las Vigarinhas Road announces scenic route begin.
Yeah.
A cluster of housing developments immediately give way to the stunning views of the Santa Monica Mountains. As you pass Malibu Creek State Park and Malibu Temple, you'll slice your way through an isolated canyons, follow the smell of ocean air to Pepperdine's lush lawn. Look out for a lounging deer.
Lounging deer.
Nice.
Is that deer that are lounging?
I guess so. They're having a smoke at the same time.
Yeah.
Legs up, having a smoke. But that will take you all the way to the Pacific Coast Highway. The rest of the drive features glittering ocean views as the lush coastal mountains meet the turquoise shore. Though you could chart a course for the distant Point Mugu Cape. I never heard of it. The drive turns less dramatic, and though more remote once you pass the county line. So there you go. That's what it looks like. Ooh, there's a nice little drop there. Some mountains.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about the PCH is that get on it as quickly as you can, because it is disappearing. There's a slight worry with all the landslides.
Okay.
The Pacific Coast Highway does go all the way up to San Francisco, along the coast, and you go past places like Malibu, and is it Pfeiffer Beach and Carmel, and there's these famous places that you sort of that are iconic, and if you know your movies, they've been filmed again and again and again. I think every single episode of Men from U.N.C.L.E., wherever they were in the world, be the Pacific Coast Highway. But if they're in England, they just put telephone boxes, red telephone boxes. The director going, yeah, that looks like England. It looks nothing like England. It's Pacific Coast Highway. But there's a lot of landslides going on, and they're fearing that at some point they're going to have to pull it inland and then come back round. So at the moment, it's a little bit impossible to get to America. But if you are there, you've never been at the Pacific Coast Highway, go and do it. Go and have a quick look at it, because it is a sight to behold. Meanwhile, Edvig from the Low Countries of Belgium. Oh, hello, Jer. I like to have a smoke, I hear. And it says you can explore the roads of my country. I can see you've given me this one. Thank you very much. Start in Neuf Chateau and head south on the N85. The lazy curves and green fields soon give way to narrower and more forested setting. Drive through Forêt de Chigny along the Semois River until you come to Florenville, swoop through the city centre and head south to the N88 into Florette de Orval. Enjoy the views of Abbaye de Orval. And if you are listening from Belgium, Abbaye de Orval, I believe, is a very nice Blanche beer. So if you are there, get to stop off, have a Dorval beer. And then wind your way through along the French border, the shadow of lush green old growth timber. Head through the north on the N895 where you turn for Soy and slither your way through the forest until you reach Bellefontaine, where you might meet
Oh no, that's
a guy
Bellefontaine.
called Harry. Dear lad, come. And and now head north through the town to the N879 towards Tintigny and continue through the countryside to Brevin, where you pick up the N801 and head back to Neufchâteau. The countryside along the final leg of your circular route is peppered with rustic churches. I guess there's some rusty ones as well there, and other buildings. Oh yes, we've got a picture of a bridge. Look at that. Very nice. Very Belgium. And the good thing, I have been to this part of the world. I cannot remember. I went to, hang on, there's the famous sauce. It's not bechamel. I think it's a famous, there's a famous sauce you have.
The Belgian town of peppercorn. That's what it is.
The Belgian town of peppercorn. No, there is. Maybe it's bechamel. I went to this about 20 years ago. I went to some Belgian town. Merguez, maybe Merguez. I can't remember. And it was right up in, and it had a castle. It was quite cute. It looked sort of like this. I don't know whether it was the town of Bechamel or the town of barbecue, but it was definitely Belgium, and it was something you had with sauce. But it was very good. It was very, very nice. But the beers are superb in Belgium. In fact, we need to do a Car-Boyz tour to Belgium, and we need to find. I tell you what we should do. If we do it, we need to get a one of those beer bicycles that you can get.
Ooh.
That you sit. A number of you sit on a beer bicycle and you cycle round the centre of Belgium while drinking a beer. But the best thing is they breathalyze you before you get on it.
Before you get on it, not after you've. Okay.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they let you consume too much either. So that is our classic car selection. If you would like to get the, it's our Lost Highways. If you want to get your Lost Highway, it could be the road outside your house. It could be somewhere you went on holiday. It could be a massive motorway, and it could be a little country lane. We all got those favourite roads. So get them onto Lost Highways by emailing car-boys, car-boys@outlook.com. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel as well, please.
And also, if it is in front of your house, don't tell us it's in front of your house. Otherwise, we'll come visit you.
Oh yeah, we will come and visit you. Have I told you my story about Tommy Steele?
I love that story. Yeah, you have, but I love that story.
Have I told that on the show? I can't remember.
No, you haven't. Not on the show.
A friend of my mother's is a big fan of Tommy Steele, and Tommy Steele lives in South East London, or just outside South East London. If you don't know who Tommy Steele is, I'm trying to think of an American version of Tommy Steele. A song and dance man from really the 1950s and 60s. He was a bit of yeah, it was a bit of a sort of early version of Elvis over here as well. Well, anyway, she's a big fan of Tommy Steele, so her and a friend on Tommy Steele's birthday decided to go to Tommy Steele's house and say hello and get a signed photograph. But Tommy Steele wasn't in, so what they did is they took a selfie of themselves on a Polaroid camera outside Tommy Steele's house and posted it through the letterbox with a note saying, "We came to your house on your birthday and you weren't here, but we took a picture of ourselves outside your house." Anyway, many weeks later, she'd written an address on the back of the picture, and she went into, this is my mum's friend, she went into her house, and on the floor was an envelope. She opened up the envelope, and there was a picture of the man himself, Tommy Steele, outside her house, which I just think is brilliant.
I love that story.
There's a man with too much time on his hands, a bit like the two of us. Talking of which, shall we delve into our overflowing mailbag?
Yes.
Yes, it's time now to delve into the bulging sack that is known locally as the mailbag here on Car-Boyz.
I love that little bit there. And getting in touch with us this week.
Early Metallica. Go on.
Yes. Yeah. Thomas writes to us. He writes to the show and says, "Hi boys, hope you're both well." We are. We're not locked down yet, but we're good. He lives in St Albans. I know the place well. And he is in the process of renovating his house. Nice. Does he not know this is Car-Boyz and not DIY SOS? I don't know. Oh no. He says he's thinking about there. Good. He's not talking about his renovation. He's
Okay.
thinking about buying a pickup truck to take waste down the tip. Can you do this if he lives in a house without paying a dump? What is this? Consume with this?
It is. Does he think I'm Nick Knowles? Are you Nick Knowles? Do I look like a twat? No, I'm not. No.
He says, can he dump the rubbish in his local dump without paying to dump his waste?
Now, what he's thinking is, this is what he's
Yes.
thinking is.
Yeah, I see what he's.
If I go and get a car, like, because you go down the tip
Yeah.
in England.
The
This is in
civic
England.
amenities.
The civic amenity centre, and if you just go in the car, they usually just let you in.
Yeah. Domestic waste, it's fine. We'll do that. It's all good.
What he thinks he's doing, he's thinking, if I buy a pickup truck and I prove that it's my house I'm renovating, do I have to pay? Because if you go in a pickup truck or a van or a lorry, they weigh the car on the way in, you dump your stuff off, and they weigh it on the way out because it's commercial waste. But if I live in the house, it basically doesn't want to pay. So how can I get around this? It won't work with a pickup truck because I was going to buy it when I lived in Southeast Asia. I was going to buy in Bangkok. I was going to buy an Isuzu D-Max truck because it was half the price of the UK. It's like 10 grand for a £22,000 truck.
Wow.
Like, great, I'm going to buy one of these. The problem is they don't come with air conditioning. I'd have to ship it back to the UK. You don't pay import duty as long as you own the car for over a year. It didn't have any heater in it, only had aircon because it was Bangkok. Right side of it was on the right hand side because we drive like the Bangkokites like us obey the law of Her Majesty. Drive on the right side of the road, or which is the left side, of course. But my problem was I was going to renovate a house at the same time when I came back. I couldn't have used the pickup truck to do it, and I would have had to pay each time I dropped off waste. Wow. So you can't do it. They'll maybe let you do it twice, I think, in my borough, but if you have your council tax form. But after that, it's like, no. So pickup trucks, vans, classed as commercial vehicles in the UK, you're only going to be allowed to take a couple of trips. After that, you've got to pay the weight charge. The other way around it is buy an estate car. Yes. Buy an old rubbish 15-year estate car like this Subaru. Chuck crap in the back and go to your local tip. But the problem is, they're not stupid down there. And I have done a similar thing with an old Honda many years ago. And after a while, I had a whole bathroom in the back of the Honda. And I was chucking it into these. After a while, they were like, we don't want to see you for the rest of the week. So,
wow.
Yeah, they were like, yeah. So what I did is I went to another tip in another borough. What I would do, or you could just dump it in your local lay-by. Again, hire a French car, French number plates, dump it in the local lay-by. Hire a skip. An 8-yard skip costs you 250 quid. Yeah. Right. They put it on your driveway. This is not about cars. I don't know why we're doing this, but anyway, an 8-yard skip's 250 quid. Stick it on your driveway. That's it. You won't have to get a car. You don't have to MOT it. You don't have to tax it. And a lovely man in a dumper truck comes and picks up the skip. He takes it away. Yeah. And if you've got any asbestos, you just hide it under the other rubbish. I'm just saying. Yes. Don't do that. Buy a skip.
Yes. There you go. Consumer advice there. Next week we'll be doing gardening on the show.
Gardening. We'll get Alan Titmarsh in as well as Nick Knowles.
Who else has written to us?
Oh, sorry. Alice in London says, hi, Car-Boyz. Love the show. Good girl. Or good lady person. She's been driving her parents' old 1999 Honda Civic for the past 3 years. Great, reliable car. She's moving away from home. She wants to buy something a little newer, a little nicer. She's got a little bit of money. Should she second-hand or lease? So she doesn't give us a budget. I always say always second-hand, never lease, unless you have limited funds immediately. Yeah. So a new lease car is going to cost you around £200 a month, minimum, really. Probably with something on top of that, £1,000 or so on top. And okay, you've got no MOT, you've got no servicing, but you're going to have to insure the car. You've got other running costs. If you dent it, you're going to have to get that fixed. Otherwise, when you give the car back, they'll want some money off you. If you lease, you can't curb the wheels. If you lease the car, we reckon around about £2,500 for the year, but you won't own the car. Instead, we thought, what can you buy for £2,500? So we had a little look on the internet. Daewoo Materia 1.6, 1.5, 5-door, 58 MPV, 45,000 miles on the clock, one owner, full service history, 102 brake horsepower, manual and compliant with ULEZ. I quite like that. It looks like you're in Wacky Races. What is it? The Anthill Mob's car. It's Daewoo, it's reliable, it's newer, it's 10 years newer than your current Honda Civic.
Yeah.
So there's a potential. £2,500. Meanwhile, sticking with the Far East and Japan, Toyota Corolla 1.4, slightly faster, slightly sportier. VVT, variable valve timing. I Color Collection, 5-door full service history, 2006. A little bit older than the Daewoo, but a little bit of a nicer car. 45 on the clock, 2 owners, full service history, 95 bhp, 1.44L. Not going to be quite as sporty as the Daewoo. A slightly nicer looking car. Depends what you want.
Practical.
I would have thought the first one, the Daewoo Materia, is more of a lady's choice, but I don't like to
Something for the
judge
ladies.
because my wife loves a Subaru, so that's all I'm saying. Volkswagen Jetta, 2-litre TDI. This one, not sure whether this is ULEZ compliant.
It's a VW diesel. It can't be.
It can't be. Yeah, no. Well, on paper it says it is. 47,000 miles on the clock. GTI alloys, 2006 saloon, 47,000, 138 bhp, 2-litre manual diesel. 2 owners, nice car in silver. That's the one I would have.
I'd like that one, yeah.
I think that's the nicest car. But hang on, I've lost my Daewoo. Oh, I've lost the will to live. I've lost my Daewoo. No, I've lost me.
By the way, I think Rich means Daihatsu, not Daewoo. Before
Sorry,
someone writes in and goes, "You don't know what you're talking about, cars."
No, I did mean Daihatsu. Yes.
Because that's what keyboard warrior is about.
Yeah. There's lots of wankers on the internet. Sorry, I didn't mean Daewoo. I meant Daihatsu. I quite like that one. I think that's a cute car. But all of these cars,
that looks like it should have someone in the back with a machine gun out the window.
It does.
It's
Bugsy Malone, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's quite. That is of. It's the newest because it's only. Is it the newest? Yeah, it's only 12 years old. 45,000 around the clock. Japanese front-wheel drive. It's a Daihatsu. It's not a Daewoo, and it is that they are very, very, very reliable cars. Maybe get one of those. Fancy something more sporty? This is the one I'd buy.
Yeah.
The Jetta. £2,500 for that is amazing with super low mileage.
So it's the Jetta is basically the Golf with a boot. That's what it is.
It's a Golf with a boot.
She's had a saloon, Civic saloon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Go for that.
Why? Yeah. If she's got, it doesn't say what she has. Does it say Civic
saloon? Yeah.
Yeah, saloon. Actually, so this will be right up your street. This will be almost replacing what you've got, but a little bit more sporty, a little bit more nicer. Go for it. Do not lease.
Exactly. So there you go. David also writes to us. He writes to us from Denmark. He said, "God morgen." Good morning to you, Car-Boyz. Hi from Copenhagen or Copenhagen. Hey. David says his father's friend is selling an old Volvo S60. I do like the S60. 2002, very good condition, full service history, leather, petrol, 2-litre, only one owner from new. He wants €2,000. Is this a good deal? Are the cars reliable? I do like big Volvos. Full stop. It's the one that sits between the S60 and the S80 and the S40. Sort of like
that's right.
Bit sort of Mondeo size.
Oh yeah.
Them.
It's front wheel drive, so check for wear there. Solidly built, 30 mpg, which is better than Simon's RX-8, which was 20 mpg. 30 mpg in the city and 40 on the highway. Not as refined as a BMW M3 series, but solid car, although it is belt driven. So make sure the cam belt's been changed, as this car is 18 years old. But you are in the right part of the world. You are in Scandinavia, and this is a Scandinavian car. So why not go for it? I like that you can't really see it here, but it has a very, very nice styling on the.
It's got a little crease on the side, hasn't it? Yeah.
There's a little crease on the back of the boot like this, which looks very cool. One of these was for sale down my road not so long ago, and I think it was the same. It was almost the same car, the same sort of vintage.
Yeah.
And I did nearly just go and buy it. It was something like £1,800, and I was like, "That's an incredibly cheap car." Well, and I couldn't work out what was wrong with it. There was no rust.
No, And I do think, if I'm not mistaken, the coupe version is the one that's based on that as well.
Okay, okay, nice car.
So yeah, I like that. Go for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
buy it. Offer
do
me.
it. Finally, we have Colleen, who's writing to us from New Jersey.
New
Hey,
Jersey. Bada bing.
in the USA. She says, "Hello, dear boys." She's originally from Ireland, but now
Oh,
lives with her husband in the USA. Ah, Bagara. She says, "Stop doing shit impressions of Irish people. I'm allowed to. I'm half Irish."
part
She says,
Scandinavian.
"Part Scandinavian, part Welsh. It's a heady mix." Uh, she says she have the worst traits of all three nations. She says, got three kids. She leads a large vehicle to get her brood around. Now, her neighbor
Mm.
is selling a 2009 Chevy Suburban, which is a monster of a car, for $3,000. Sounds like a bargain, is it? I'll show you a picture of the 2009 Chevy Suburban. That's insanely cheap. It is. Go on.
I was going to say, can I just say that is a bargain when you compare it to the 300,000 of this, which you could also have.
Yes,
Get your brood
exactly.
around.
I think that might be slightly more reliable though, and this is an unfortunate. I've been in the back of one of these,
Right.
and they are huge. I caught it was being used as a taxi to get me out of Manhattan to JFK, and it was a huge boot space in the back. But unfortunately, they have I've looked online. These have problems. The truck's got suspension failures, AC failures, overheating issues, engines burning too much oil. Even at $3,000, I'd walk away. I mean, it is a list as long as your arm of the things that go wrong on this. Even when they were new, things went wrong. 3,000, like seriously, if you go back and look online at piston heads, people are bitching about this thing being awful after 2 years. No. Get rid of that. Spend the same money. Hang on a second. I did have a picture.
$3,000.
So $3,000 Toyota RAV4. There you go. Not as much capacity as a Chevy Suburban. Much more reliable. That is a lady in a different country with 3 kids, with a lot of stuff going on in life. And okay, it's not as cool as the Suburban, but that thing will start, I almost guarantee it, every time. Classic RAV4.
Yeah.
Don't get that. That's flashy. It's nice. Much less grief. That will work every time. And you know, if you are a car nut, you go and get your favorite car, but you're telling us you want a workhorse to get the kids around.
Yeah.
RAV4 over the Chevy Suburban, and it's a shame because it shouldn't be like that. That should be the bread and butter of every American. Every American should have one of these, but they're not made well enough, especially not back in 2000.
They're literally made of butter and bread.
They're literally made of butter. Whereas that is made of very strong sushi and rice. No, it's just made by people that give a shit. That's made by lazy Americans. Talking of Americans.
Yes, nicely done there.
No, did you see that segue? It was seamless. I've got to get my music back. Here we go. Come on, guys. Oh, hang on. No, it's the wrong band. Hang on. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. All right. Enough. Hang on. Enough. I can't turn it off. It's the best music ever. Oh. Hang on, it really is not going off. That's much better. That's the sound effects that we really want to hear on the show. Yes, of course. It's time now on the show for our weekly quiz.
Yay.
This week. Thank you. This week, in recognition of the US election, we're turning our attention across the pond. We are indeed. Whether it's the orange man or the forgetful one who's going to be running the country by the end of the week, we're honouring the role that country has played in global car production in our quiz, American Steel. Well, apart from the 2009 Chevy Suburban. I'll be having my hair implants put in, my teeth whitened, and my skin lightened with an inch of its life as I play the role of an American game show host. Hi, my name's Bob Bobson. Joining me this week from little old London town in England is a young man who's come all the way across to God's country to try and win it big stateside. Let's see how much he knows about Uncle Sam's cars in American Steel. Hi, Simon. How is little old England? You still driving them dinky little cars?
Dinky little cars and double-decker buses. Yes, that's still England.
Well, let's see if you can win big on the show. I've got to stop that. It's hurting my throat. This week, our grand prize up for grabs is a pre-World War II Jaguar hood ornament when the company was still known as SS.
Yes.
Probably not a great idea to fix this to the front of your car if you're thinking of driving it around the streets of Tel Aviv.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. That's your grand prize.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
You are, especially as you're a Spurs fan. Simon, are you ready? Let's begin.
Yay.
Let's begin our show, American Steel. That's enough. That's enough of that. Okay, so first off on the show, which car's third generation body was used on a NASCAR automobile? Which cars? I hope you haven't looked at the questions, by the way.
No, I haven't. No.
Good.
I saw they were there, but I didn't.
I know. I stupidly sent you the wrong document, but let's not tell the viewers about how we mess up. Which car? Right, as I was saying, which car's third generation body style was used on a NASCAR automobile? This is an easy one. Was it a Morgan Plus 4? Was it a Maserati GT300, a Mercedes 540K, or a Chevrolet Chevelle?
Oh, I'm going to take a guess that it'll be the only American on there, so the Chevrolet Seville.
The Chevrolet Chevelle. Was that the right answer? Yes, of course.
Yay.
Of course it was. Yes. There you go. Oh, sorry. My sound effects are going back again. There we go. There you go. It is, of course, the Chevrolet Chevelle. Look at that.
Wow.
A redneck mobile, if ever I saw one, of course.
Absolutely.
The body of the Chevrolet Chevelle was used on a NASCAR automobile, and the person who drove this car was a guy called Cale Yarborough, who used it during the 1970s. What?
Not Candelabra, which is his
not
brother.
Candelabra, who obviously, yes, he worked for Liberace. So well done on that one, Simon. There you go. The audience is going crazy. Okay, next question. American Steel. The first generation of Camaro was available in which year? The first generation of the Camaro was available in what year? 1988. Was it 1920, 1990, or 1967? The first generation of the Camaro, the Chevy Camaro, was available in which year? 1988, 1920, 1990, or 1967?
I'm going to, again, taking a guess at this classic period of American cars. I'm going to say 1967?
One of the original muscle cars. Well done, of course. It was the Chevrolet. It was 1967. The first generation of the Camaro was available in 67 and came in multiple styles and sizes. The first generation was only built, though, for 3 years.
I'm loving the rear wheel on that. It looks huge.
It does look fantastic, doesn't it? And the grille. The grille looks like an absolute monster as well. Yeah, I think that's... Are those mag wheels? Those look like later wheels. Just because I'm thinking they are quite big, though, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
There would be little Smarties in the original 1967 version. Moving swiftly on. Which cartoon character was in a commercial for the Plymouth Roadrunner? Which American cartoon character, because it's American Steel, was in, I have had my teeth whitened, was in a commercial for the Plymouth Roadrunner? Was it A, Pink Panther, B, Top Cat, C, Deputy Dog, or D, Wile E. Coyote?
Again, I'm going to say, just because it's called the Roadrunner, I'm going to say Wile E. Coyote.
You're correct. Meep, meep. It was, of course, the Wile E. Coyote. Actually, that's not the Wile E. Coyote. Is that Wile? No, that's
that
the
is Wile E. Coyote.
No. Wile E. Coyote. Wasn't Wile E. Coyote the... Oh, no, that is Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, you're thinking of Roadrunners.
I'm thinking of the Roadrunner. That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't the Plymouth Roadrunner have a Roadrunner in it, not Wile E. Coyote? Oh, no. Okay, hang on. I've got the explanation here. Wile E. Coyote was in the commercial for the Plymouth Roadrunner. This makes sense because on television, he was always chasing after the real Roadrunner, who appeared on the spot as well. So Wile E. Coyote and also the Roadrunner were in both the commercial for the Plymouth Roadrunner.
Okay.
We got confused. 3 out of 3 so far. Well done, Simon. Moving swiftly on. The song "Fun, Fun, Fun" by the Beach Boys mentions which classic car? The song "Fun, Fun, Fun." But does it mention? You can do it in your head. I'll give you some
Yes.
clues. The Chevrolet Chevelle, the Triumph Spitfire, the Ford Thunderbird, or the Oldsmobile Rally 350.
So it's fun, fun, fun. Daddy takes the T-Bird keys right away. So it's the Ford Thunderbird.
Ford Thunderbird. Ford Thunderbird, correct. It's mentioned in the song "Fun, Fun, Fun" by the Beach Boys. The car is so iconic. It was produced from the 1950s up until 2005. I have a nice 2005. I was looking at those. You don't want one of those. That is a nice version of the
Yes.
Ford Thunderbird. Actually, I tell a lie. The last generation actually are not bad. 2005 are pretty good. They look. It's on the Panther. I think they're on the Panther body, and they do look quite moody.
Did they go slightly retro with it as well?
Sort of. It's very, very rounded. It looks like a blob in most of the 80s and 90s, and it just looks but that was the original. That's the one you want. That's the money car. That's the money shot. So you are correct. So 5 out of 5. Question 6: which American car uses? Hang on a second. I'm getting confused with pictures here. Oh dear. No, there we go.
Come on, Hood Ornament. Come on, Hood Ornament.
I know. Look at this. You too could be popular down your street. How long do you think before your Mini gets scratched if you put SS on?
Yes.
Not long. Okay. Question 6. Which American car uses an F body? Which American car uses an F body? A Ford Mustang, a Dodge Charger, a Lincoln Continental, or a Chevrolet Camaro?
Oh, I don't know this one. So it's what was the options? A Ford
Mustang, Dodge Charger, Chevrolet Camaro, or Lincoln Continental?
Oh, I'm going to say Dodge Charger.
Dodge Charger. I'm afraid not. It was the Chevrolet Camaro. They use an F body. The car was first produced in the 60s, and newer versions are still in production today. You may remember the car being used in the Transformers movie as the Bumblebee.
Yes.
So again, a lot of Chevrolet Camaro. I think the more modern ones have got like a square, bit more of a square front. Still a nice car. So not bad. Still 5 out of 6.
Okay.
Which movie used the 1958 Plymouth Fury? Which movie used a 1958 Plymouth Fury? Was it Gone in 60 Seconds? Was it The Gumball Rally? Was it Bullet? Or was it Christine?
Ooh, it would.
I can show you a picture of the car. 1958 Plymouth Fury. Was it Gone in 60 Seconds? Was it Bullet? Was it Gumball Rally? Or was it Christine?
I think, again, this is going to be a guess. I'm going to go for Stephen King was Christine, so I'm going to say Christine.
You're of course right. Correct.
Yes.
The audience going crazy. The Plymouth Fury featured in the book and subsequent Stephen King movie Christine. And I think it mowed down. It was where I first learned of the American phrase to simonize a car. We just wax them in the UK, but in America, you simonize the vehicle. Here on American, what is this quiz called? American Steel. Okay, question 8. So 6 out of 7 so far. Question 8. Which car was remade in 2012? Which car was remade in 2012? The Plymouth Prowler, the Cadillac Eldorado, the Pontiac GTO, or the Ford Boss 302 Mustang?
Oh, this is a tricky one. So it's what year? 2012?
2012.
2012. Boss Mustang, GTO. They've made the GTO for a while. What are the other two options?
Ford Boss Mustang, Pontiac GTO, Plymouth Prowler, or Cadillac Eldorado?
I'm going to say Eldorado.
Oh, it was the Ford Boss 302 Mustang.
Okay.
The original Ford Boss was made in 1969, remade in 2012. Only 1 year. The car used for racing had a signature stripes on the paint. That I think was the original. That was the original. I think that's the original.
Yeah, that's the original. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice car. Right, okay, moving on. So you got a couple wrong so far, but still doing okay.
Come on,
Which model was one of Oldsmobile's most successful? Which model, because it's American steel, was one of Oldsmobile's most successful? Was it the Firebird Trans Am? Was it the DeSoto? Was it the Coupe de Ville, or was it the Cutlass? Oldsmobile.
Oh, I'm gonna say the Coupe de Ville. Cutlass.
Yes, Cutlass.
Yes.
Correct. Correct. Yay! The audience are going crazy. I didn't help you at all. Yes, of course. Thank you, audience. The Coupe de Ville was the Cadillac. The Firebird Trans Am
Pontiac.
Was Pontiac.
Yeah.
DeSoto was just another company called DeSoto that I think went out of business in the 1950s. And this was the Cutlass, which was the most famous of Oldsmobile's cars, and of course was one of the original muscle cars, and that has got definitely aftermarket wheels, because that ain't original. Those wheels are effing huge, and I would suggest 21st century brakes as well. There's no drum brakes.
They look that. Yeah.
A monster, that one. Finally, a final question. So I think you've got 3 wrong so far, but that's okay. You can still be up.
Still get the hood ornament.
Yes. Of winning that fantastic. Look at it, hood ornament. There we go. I'm wondering if I missed out on a question early on. No, I don't think I did. No, I didn't. Anyway, final question. Question 10. To win this fantastic hood ornament in our competition, American Steel, is it true or false that a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am was used in the Burt Reynolds movie Smokey and the Bandit? Did they use a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am in the movie Smokey and the Bandit, starring Burt Reynolds and his moustache and Sally Field?
I seem to remember they did, yes. Was it gold and black?
Was, of course! Was, of course. Iconic car, the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, used in the Burt Reynolds movie Smokey and the Bandit. A sort of muscle car, but it never really had the guts, and those are definitely original wheels because they're very fat. There used to be a publican near me that used to drive one of these all in gold with the black Pontiac Firebird. And this was in Lewisham, so he looked like a bit of a knob end. You can't drive this car in the UK. You look like a twat.
Yes.
You look like you like country. In America, yes, take to the highway. Everybody's going to be your mate. Everybody's going to pull over and go, cool car, man. Burt Reynolds, yeah. They see this in England and they're going to go, what a dickhead. You cannot drive an American muscle car over here. Unfortunately.
Likes to go line dancing.
Yep, likes to go line dancing and sleeps with his sister. That's not what really happens, but that's what English people think of American cars. It's a little too gauche, but a lovely car. So well done. Well done. Hey. You've won it big. You won it big time. You've won big, just like me, always winning. Always winning. Never going to lose. Just tell Uncle Sleepy Joe I'm going to win this. My fellow Americans, I am not a crook. Well done, Simon. You walk off with that fantastic prize of the SS badge that we ripped off from Jaguar SS down the high street, and you can put that on your Mini and be proud. Thank you. Well done. There'll be more quizzes next week on the show. Of course, a little shout out to our sponsor, COVID Cola. It's COVID Cola, refreshing, infectious, and oriental. COVID Cola. People with respiratory problems and the over 60s, so possibly not a good idea to take that. Thank you very much for tuning into the show this week. We will be back. Shall we come back next week, do you think? Do you think it would be a good idea to do it again?
Yeah, I think nobody's going to be doing anything next week or for the next 4 weeks.
Well, yeah, for 4 weeks in the UK, if you are listening in the UK, nobody's going to be doing absolutely jack. We're just going to be turning up, doing the show, staying indoors or staying outdoors. Yes, while the iris goes to automatic. Tune into the show. Email the Car-Boyz, car-boys@outlaw.com. Facebook, car-boys at Car-Boyz with 4 Zs, always with a Z on the Car-Boyz. Twitter, car-boys at car_boys with a Z. Instagram at car-boys with 3 Zs. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great week. Stay safe. The best, America. Can't get rid of this music now. Yeah, I've had enough. See you next week, folks.